Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Eric Johansson, a teacher with LSAT Demon. With me is Nathan Fox, the co-founder of LSATdemon.com and the weekly podcast, Thinking LSAT. Today we have an email from Riley.
Riley says, "Hello, demons. After receiving a 166 diagnostic on a time test last month, I have since taken 2 more time practice tests and have received a 166 on both! Exclamation points. While I am happy with the consistency, I cannot help but feel frustrated with the lack of growth. I'm routinely -1 or 2 on reading comp. However, I find myself struggling with a few psychological barriers on logical reasoning. Anytime I get tripped up on a question, it derails my concentration and I find myself a bit panicked, semicolon. This is amplified by my obsession with the clock. While I can nail these LR problems in untimed drills, when it comes to timed PTs, I really struggle. I resonate with your intuition-based approach to the test, so I will value any feedback. Thanks for all your support! Exclamation point, Riley." Advice for Riley?
Yeah, enjoy the challenge. That's the best advice I can give. I mean, I'll tell you what, you have been doing the LSAT for not very long yet, Riley. I've been doing it for over 3 years. Nathan's got me beat by quite a bit.
A couple decades, yeah.
Yeah, we both, I mean, Nathan, I think I speak for you in saying that we both enjoy the really difficult stuff. Like where we get enjoyment out of the test is in the challenge, the occasional challenge of those really tricky LR questions.
Yep.
So in the moment, at least I'll speak for myself, when I am midway through an LR question and I realize, oh, this is challenging me, my reaction is not, oh no, I'm scared, this is taking too long, I'm worried now, I feel so bad about my ability. It's, oh, awesome, here we go. Let's put the gloves on and get down to work on this tricky question. Like, this was why I started studying today. Or this is why I did this time section today. So that's, I think, just that attitude shift of embracing the challenge and realizing that that's the fun stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't do that and, as Riley says, obsess with the clock.
No.
We both turn the clock off. I mean, Riley, not only are we not obsessed with the clock, but the first thing we do when we start a timed section is we click the clock so that it will go away. Because the clock doesn't have anything to do with solving the questions. You have to solve each question. To go up from a 166, you don't do that by missing questions. You do that by solving questions correctly. So I don't care if you finish the section, but I care a lot if you make mistakes along the way. And it sounds like what you're doing is you're tripping up and then you're not like picking yourself up off you're like, it's like you trip and fall and then you decide, okay, so now I'm going to sprint out of it. I'm just going to hectic, Whoa, wait a second. What you need to do is you need to stop tripping. Just slow down, just reread that sentence or two, make the connection that you didn't make previously, eventually solve the question, and then the next one should be easy. You're like making the next one harder by freaking out, we're panicking about the time, and then you have cascade failure.
Yeah. Well, I think you said stop tripping. I think it's less, I mean, we're always going to trip.
Yeah.
It's how you recover and what your attitude is recovering from the trip. Like even we will, in the middle of a question, if we're teaching a class, think, oh wow, like at some point some part of our brain might think this is taking me a while, and we'll feel self-conscious about it. At least I feel that way from time to time. If I'm staring down a wall of 40 people in a Zoom class and I feel like I'm taking too long to answer the question, like I'll have those thoughts as well. The difference is, how do you recover from that thought and just let it slide away?
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that you're not going to have that first little stumble, but the thing is, you're going to not then compound that with completely falling on your face, right? You're going to like recover and you're going to go, oh, wait a second, let me get my balance again by rereading that bit that I didn't quite understand. Let me make that connection again. For example, you get done with an argument and you like just aren't really sure what you think about it. You don't then like go on to the question and the answer choices. You instead go back to the argument again and you're like, well, look, I got to give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down at least before I go one step further. And if I give it a thumbs down, I've got to have kind of an idea why I'm giving it a thumbs down. I mean, it's either a valid argument or it's not. And if it's not, then all right, well, what's the evidence? What's the conclusion? What are the arguments? Think around the edges of the argument that's there, so that because that's where the question's going to be answered, is like on the margins of what they've got and what they don't got. Then go into the answer choices. Then only one answer really even looks good. The wrong answers just completely don't answer the question, or they answer the question but exactly wrongly. And it's just it is okay to struggle with the one, but then you need to like get it back together and realize that they don't have to get harder and harder and harder and harder.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a way of making that happen for yourself, especially if you start like worrying about how like the elapsed time or whatever. Just boy, that's not helping you recover.
Short memory. You gotta, if you're out on the fairway recovering from a errant drive, you have to forget about the fact that you hit a poor drive and just hit a smooth, clean, easy iron shot, and just focus on that one swing.
There's some story about Jack Nicklaus, and it might be like apocryphal, but it's Jack Nicklaus claiming that he never missed a putt that would have won a tournament. And it's like, you could show Jack. It's like, Jack, you finished second in more tournaments than anyone else ever in history. Literally, like you won more than anyone else in history. You also finished second more than anyone else in history. You have missed many, many short putts that would have won a title. But he literally just didn't even remember them, at least according to this story. So yeah, real short memory. Like, no, but I know that I'm pretty fucking good at solving them too. So I'll just get right back to the business of, like Jack's like, oh, well, surely, even if I have missed some putts that would have won titles, I also have made a lot of putts along the way, and I'm going to make this next one. So just, you just let it go, and you just get right back into, I mean, you need to answer number 21 the same way that you answered number 1, which is just read all the individual pieces, think about how those pieces fit together, attack that argument if there's an argument there, read the question carefully, know what they're asking you about the argument that you just attacked. You do all that work before you ever get into the answer choices. And what every student does, right, is that they just get into A and B and C and D too quickly, and then now you're in big, big trouble.
Great. Anything else for Riley?
Riley said, I'm happy with the consistency, which makes me laugh for a couple of different reasons. One is this is an illusion of consistency, not actual consistency. This is 3 data points that all happen to be 166. That doesn't have to mean anything at all other than 3 random data points that all turned out. I mean, you might be a 166 average plus or minus 5, and you just happen to score 166 3 times in a row. 2, so I'm not even convinced that you have consistency, whatever that means. 2, consistency is actually bad for you in the long run because law schools only care about your highest score. So consistency is never even a goal of ours. We're not trying to be consistent. I mean, sure, I'd love to be consistent at 180 every single time, but I'm not looking for consistency between my scores on my way up, because I know that if I'm missing any, then there's going to be some range, and I'm always going to have some variance. And even when I get to the point where I'm ready to take the test, I might decide, 173 plus or minus 5. Like sometimes I score 168, sometimes I score 178. Yeah, sure. That's great. I'm happy to be 173 plus or minus 5, because if I take the official test and get a 168, I'm just going to take it again. And if I take the test and get a 178, then I'm now forever a 178 in the eyes of the schools. If I score 173, fine, I'm probably going to keep taking it because I know that I have 178s in my range. But I'm certainly not worried about the 168s other than, okay, well, I missed a bunch of questions here. Let me take a look at why I missed those questions. But the fact that you got lucky sometimes and scored 178, and you got unlucky sometimes to get 168 if you're a 173 average, really just it kind of is irrelevant. You have the same skills, and then you just have data points within your uncertain range. Does that make, I don't know if I'm making any sense at all to Riley. But
no, it makes sense. You give with bigger range, you have more upside. I'll give you another example of where this has played into my own LSAT application process. Inconsistency across admissions cycles. I applied
Yeah.
to law schools 2 years ago, didn't get any one offer that I was thrilled about, so withdrew my applications, applied again this cycle to many of the same schools, and I have had inconsistent results
Yeah.
across the schools that I reapplied to. Some of the schools that I reapplied to, I have gotten worse results. Other schools that I've applied to, I've gotten better results.
Yep.
And I'm not all that concerned about the fact that some schools that or at least one school that admitted me with no scholarship last time around, waitlisted me this time around. Both of those basically mean the same to me. What I am excited about is the fact that some schools that gave me okay scholarships last time gave me much better scholarships this time. So there was inconsistency in both directions, but it's the upside that really matters.
And you only have to take one offer, right?
Exactly.
You can only take one offer. And so all you really need is to get one good offer, which is why we apply broadly. We don't expect consistency in our results. We don't really care about the denials. We don't really care about the bad scholarship offers. We care about the really good admissions where they're offering us a really good price. And really, we care the most about the one offer that we're ultimately going to accept. So yeah, everybody needs to just kind of have a longer view, a more probabilistic view, and realize this is why you have multiple attempts at the LSAT. This is why you can apply to, or it's in your benefit, to your benefit anyway. Instead of everybody always sees like the problems, right? Everybody's always, people are so negative or frustrated, says Riley, panicked, says Riley. It's like, wait a second, what? You're playing a game that is really stacked in your favor. You're starting at a very high diagnostic. I mean, if 166 is a cold diagnostic, that's insanely high cold diagnostic. And you're going to end up in the 170s, no problem, eventually. And then you're going to end up going to a great school, probably, either one of the best law schools in the country or free or both. And so this is like nothing but wins for you, Riley.
Totally.
Anything more?
Nope.
Let's leave it there. Email daily@lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.